Okay, we're
All
ready to
righty.
go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me? I'm in the school too. Do you all hear the children in the background?
No, we
We're
just hear
good?
Nope.
you.
Loud and
Nope.
clear.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Great. So what is today? Today is Wednesday, June 10th, I believe. We have 5 more days of school. That's very important to know. I'm excited about it. And we do have quorum. At the time, I'm sorry, currently the time is 5:37, and I am calling this meeting for the C committee to order. Let's take attendance, please. Representative Goulet,
Here.
Representative Best.
Here.
Hey, didn't see you, Representative Best. Good to have you. Representative Johnson Law. I know I
Present, even I'm present. I'm present, but I don't
thank you
know if
for
I don't know if I get do I count because I'm not on the committee?
no, you're a guest and we're happy to have you. And then
Cheers. Come
and
again.
then we have two student representatives. Are our student representatives here? They
Just
are.
Representative Chamberlain. Representative Chamberlain, can you please try speaking?
We see you. We saw that you came off mute. Can you give us a verbal confirmation just for documentation?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm on my phone. It won't let me join as a panelist, but Darren has done some magic that allows me to speak.
Okay.
But I'm
We
here.
thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right, and we have Jen and Darren here. Thank you both for being here. So let's get started. Is the agenda in the chat? I'm sorry, you all, I'm navigating on my phone as well. Um, while that's coming up, today's main focus is for us to solidify what we're going to work on, our workflow, what we're committing to. I know that we have had a lot of things come to committee. We've also knocked out a few things, which we should all be excited about. So what we want to keep this train of accomplishment rolling, and we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, so that when other things are sent to us, we know what we're focused on, and we can kindly see if they can be sent to other committees so that we can maintain our focus and be productive. Is that all right with everyone? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So we want to start back. We're going to start right here with what I just said, giving feedback on our strategic priorities. And then we also have Representative Dr. Johnson Law here to speak about her resolution, which we have been discussing for a while regarding student IDs. And if you all don't mind, let's switch that order. Whenever we have guests, we try to give them the floor early so that they can move on if they want. I know Representative Johnson Law is at a school. So you can talk about your resolution, please, Dr. Johnson Law, and then we can talk about the committee's priorities. Is that all right with everyone?
Um,
All right, great. The floor is yours, Representative Johnson Law.
thank you, Representative Dr. Colson. I really appreciate it. I'm at Anacostia High School. They're having their literacy night, and I know I missed you all last week. So, I mean, last week, Lord, last month, and what really wanted to make sure that I got to you all this month. Um, it honestly, guys, it's going to be the same old spiel. I know the board has just been kind of focusing on IDs lately as we talk about like student safety and student access, and I really just applaud the board for for just all the work that we're doing. Um, this resolution is really just to center all of our kids. I call it the other side of inclusivity, is to make sure that our babies have real access to be able to get their ID. I do understand and know that there's information online and people can go to dmv.dc.gov, but it is something different, I think, when the DMV and our schools have some type of like liaison, some type of partnership. And so basically that's what this resolution is saying. It's really just a resolution to say, hey, like we need to explore pathways for schools to have more direct access to the DMV to help babies get their student IDs. For example, here at Anacostia, I've had a couple of homeless students that I've been helping navigate get their IDs, and they just are lost in the sauce. They've been on the websites, their parents, again, just aren't sure. And so I've been helping them navigate with that. I've also been helping students in Anacostia whose parents have mental health concerns. I know that's a very sensitive, it is Men's Mental Health Month, so happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. But a lot of our babies have families who are also unfortunately have mental health concerns. And so sometimes parents are not necessarily able to help them. And so schools are like a hub. And so just trying to figure out, okay, how can we just figure out how can we not put undue burden on our students and our families. And I know this also came up last year with the National Guard being here and the federal government and all the things that are happening. It's we want to make sure our babies have access, so that way people know that they're minor, they have access if it's MBSYEP and they need their ID, if it's an internship and they need their ID. Some of them are going off to scholarships and they need their ID. I mean, there's a lot of things that you all know that we need our IDs, that we need our IDs for. And so just hoping that I was going to say the commission, sorry y'all, the committee will just help support this resolution and helping move it forward. Again, would love to hear everyone's feedback. I know I sent it in an email last night, but that's just the basics and the crux of the issue. How can honestly, our charter schools, DCPS, how can we explore more ways to really have a deeper partnership, with the DMV, not trying to negate any of the federal requirements. That's not what this is. But there are some families who might be dealing with residency issues. Again, a lot of our homeless students, many of our students are, I can't find my birth certificate. So what do I need to do for that? There are these different pieces and different things that we need to get our ID, and just how do we kind of streamline and partner, to be able to get that done? Is that helpful?
Thank you for sharing. Yes, it's helpful. Before I ask my questions, do any of the other representatives have questions for Dr. Johnson Law regarding the resolution?
I'll just speak up here. So thank you, Chairwoman Colson. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I just want to speak in support of Representative Johnson Law's resolution here. I appreciate the work you've done on this. I think it's a good partner to the Eric's ID law resolution that the board's already passed. And this is going to really get to the crux of what you talked about helping our students who may be experiencing homelessness or family instability, or just have difficulty trying to navigate the district system on IDs. And I think it's a real great companion piece to that. And I just want to thank you for working with our staff on this and your leadership on the issue and your persistence to get it done. So I'm going to be voting enthusiastically in support of it today to send it up to the working session.
Any other comments or feedback, questions about the resolution? Okay. Well, I'll say, Dr. Johnson Law, thank you again for leading this. This is something that you and I have talked about as well.
Yes, ma'am.
My thoughts are always with the students who are experiencing homelessness, and also in my role with DCPS serving so close to Union Station, I definitely understand the need for our students to have ID as they go back and forth in and out of Union Station trying to get to school and home safely, where we know there is definitely a high presence of National Guards and law enforcement there. I love when we're able to work together and how our resolutions build on one another and couple one another's, echoing Representative Goulet's point about that. So I will definitely vote in support of this, but I do want to say things have been moving really quickly. And just this is not to Dr. Johnson Law, but this is for the good of the group. I think it's really important that we allow ourselves time to get the resolutions in so that we can all look at it. And then also so the team can look at it, our staff team can look at it before we pass it up. But I want to keep moving forward with this one, just like we move swiftly with Eric's Law next month. But moving forward, I think it's best practice and also probably in adherence with the bylaws that we have enough time to make sure that everyone has read it and that our team, SBOE staff, is able to give feedback and input. Okay. If there are no other comments, can we take a vote on this? And if I'm missing a step, Dr. Fleischer, please remind me as you do well. All right. All right, well then let's take the vote. Let's start with Representative Best. Representative Goulet.
Aye.
All right. Representative Chamberlain.
Aye.
Okay, and it's an aye for me as well. And Dr. Johnson Law, would you like to vote on this as well?
Thank you, Dr. Colson.
I just
Thank
wanted
you
to
so
extend
much.
the opportunity. It always feels good when you support your own. So thank you, Dr. Johnson Law, for your work on this. We're happy to move it forward, and we look forward to you supporting the other resolutions that we'll be working on with C, and for
Yes, ma'am.
everyone that we will be making sure that we get everything in on time, enough time for everyone to read, review, sit and chew on it and deliberate about it, and then also give staff the opportunity to weigh in as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Johnson Law. You're more than welcome to stay with us, or you can carry on with Anacostia. I'm here at E.L. Haynes, so I understand the multitasking, and I have have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Colson, and thank you to the C committee. And then Jen, I can follow up with you and the policy team to help kind of work out the language and stuff so that way we can get it to the board, not just with the committee's eyes, but also with also staff's eyes as
Thank you.
well.
Yeah, we will send the version that was voted out by the committee to the board. After the working session, my team can help refine, but we need to send the version that you sent yesterday. So that's what the board will see.
Got it. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Right along. I want to pass the mic, if you will, over to Jen, because I believe you're going to give us some guidance on our strategic goals and how to best execute that. So thank you again for joining us, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Representative Coulson. So I have started sharing my screen. This should look familiar to members because I'm here on behalf of Executive Director Butler. She has been to the Educator Excellence and the College Career and Life Readiness Committee meetings in previous weeks as well to kind of represent this draft strategic priorities dashboard to each committee, because when she first shared these at the March working session, members had amazing feedback about how this can be improved upon and graded on. So the goal is for each committee to share, obviously this will look different for everybody, but what I'm sharing now is the ensure safety and support for all students priority, which aligns the most with the work that you all do. So the current layout draft that was shared earlier with members. And so my question to you all is, you can see the initiative status, each of the initiatives listed underneath. There's a budget section, there is a number of partners engaged, and then there is a section with a written priority update. So what do you all think should go here? Is there a better way to represent the progress and updates that this particular committee has and will be working on between now and December of 2026. So I'm happy to hear any feedback from you all. Yes, Representative Goulet.
Okay, thank you. So, I mean, in this, I would mark elevate student voice is completed. Now, we're never done with elevating student voice. I mean, that's something we are always going to endeavor to do. And it will do again next year because the student engagement summit that we held was so popular that we already want to do a round two of it. But when Representative Best and myself set out with this goal, our desire was to have uh, something that really does elevate student voice, that brings students from across the city together to comment and advise us on policy. And I think we've done that. So I would mark this one as completed as of the date of the meeting, with the understanding that that doesn't stop us engaging students. We're going to be engaging SAC in the fall, like we always do, and we're going to be taking the recommendations from the what do we officially call it? I always forget the name that we officially called it, the student town hall, but it wasn't called
Youth
that.
Civic Leadership Summit.
Yes, the Youth Civic Leadership Summit, the recommendations from there and the recommendations from the SAC report that they did, which I also thought were incredible. And we're going to take those and then put them, what we had talked about earlier was trying to come up with a list of safety and supports. I know it got just watered down to the bullying definition, but try to get safety and supports for our students that we can recommend then to the executive branch. So I think we've done number three. Number two, as you point out, it's not going to be released until the fall. So all we're going to do is promote that. And then what I think is a pretty easy lift is just updating the bullying definition. I hope we go broader than that because I think there's a lot more to do in safety and supports and we have I will say a once in every 4 to 12-year opportunity to kind of send recommendations to the new mayor's office in terms of improving safety and support, so the transition committee can take those on. So I think not only can we knock number one out easily, but then we can do more. So I think we're making great progress on this. But that's my comment.
I would like to say I agree with everything you just said, for the record.
I think it would be helpful too for me to share some of the feedback that other committees have given. I mean, otherwise we can leave it exactly as is if the committee thinks this is best reflective of the work you all are doing toward this priority. But the Educator Excellence Committee, they wanted to insert links and show some of the progress that they've done, not just this year, but in previous years to advance the early career educator priority. So that was their main piece of feedback. The college career and life readiness. They wanted to add a little bit more. So, not just partners engaged, but like how many DC residents have been engaged through the surveys and the feedback sessions that they've hosted. Um, some additional ways to show the work that they've done on the high school graduation requirements and their ongoing work now on the feedback loops for academic standards. So those are some of the things. Once you all, assuming you'll pass the PE standards, we would add those to their dashboard as well. So I wanted to share that in case that sparks additional ideas from your committee about what could be added here.
I keep looking for the raise hand button, but I can't find it here. So may I speak, Madam Chair? Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, no, I agree with everything that you just said there, Jen. I mean, and what I'm trying to look at is this dashboard was supposed to be kind of a summary that then people could click to get to things like under student voice. Like let's say we have completed on there, but then we have links to like let's say the SAC annual report, which detailed its work with MICFA. I mean, that would be great. And then we could have I don't know if they've been approved yet, but documents from the Youth Civic Leadership Summit, which I think we're being worked through and revised one last time. But put that on there too, with maybe some photos from both the SAC meetings and the Civic Leadership Summit that we had, and that would kind of give people then not just an idea of the scale of those things, but would be able to then link directly to the reports where we engaged students and we got really helpful feedback from students. And again, it's not the end of the story. We're not going to say, oh, mission accomplished. We're done engaging students from now on. But our goal was to elevate student voice and to really, with MICFA working with SAC, with the summit, to really try to go to the extra mile to get feedback from students on how they would feel safer and how they would feel supported at school. So I agree with everything you said. I think we just do the same thing here.
Any other thoughts from Representative Best or Representative Chamberlain?
None here. This is one of those moments where Goulet and I agree. A
I
representative.
agree
Yeah.
that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Representative Chamberlain.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I think my phone might be a little bit slow on the audio. It's continuously like disconnecting audio and reconnecting, but from what I have caught, of what Representative Goulet was saying, I agree. I think it's always good to be able to, show the public that what you're doing and, being more transparent. And I think it's a good way to be a more transparent and credible group of people, I guess, and just showing them what we're doing and how we're doing it.
I just have one last question then. Are there any strong feelings about the budget spent box, partners engaged, or this priority update narrative? I see you, Representative Goulet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a big believer in eliminating the budget spent box because I think it's way too large and I think it is just a distraction. Uh, partners engaged. I mean, on this one, we engaged hundreds of partners. They were the youth. But I mean, that's not what you're looking for there. I mean, I just think like people are drawn to big blocks of color. I mean, and those two things to me are way too oversized, given that our goal is to accomplish the initiatives we set out in our strategic plan. So, like for me, what I'm zeroed in on is the initiative status, and and talking about that. I mean, like whether we spent $5,000 or $3,000, I mean, doesn't really matter. It's whether we got the job done on what we set out to do. So, I mean, I just think it's a useless stat externally, useful internally as we manage, our resources. And then, I mean, partners engaged. I mean, I think that's important, but I think it's too big.
Yeah, I'm going to say thank you to Representative Goulet. I think he spoke more about the logistics, which is not what I was focused on. I was focused on the initiatives. I think in the next item on the agenda, we'll talk more about the priorities, and that's probably going to be updated. I know for sure that I definitely want to see the discipline policy lumped or coupled with bullying. And that is something that we're going to get started on. And I'm sure the other members agree that we stick to our priority and not be distracted by all of the things equally important that are coming to the committee, but it's really important that we get those things done. So I like the way that it shows whether or not we've started or in progress or have completed. I think that's very helpful in listing what we said we're going to do. So those are my thoughts on it. Dr. Fleischer.
Thank you. Yeah, two quick comments. One, those three initiatives, we're aiming to close those out for 2026. So I know this committee has quite a few projects going on, but these, I think the initiative status, these are the ones we're aiming to close 2026 out with. The others we can continue on through 2027. And definitely keeping those in mind for the public. The other thing for partners engaged, could you remind the committee, Jen, if that's dynamic, like if you hover over it, could those, and is any of this dynamic in terms of showing more information?
Um, I think that's to be determined. Right now, it's literally just a slide on PowerPoint. The goal was to put this on the website where we have our strategic priorities listed currently. So that depends on the capacity and capabilities of our website. I would encourage members that it's probably not going to be like the most interactive thing. So as a next step, what Director Butler committed to doing is creating new iterations based on the feedback received from each committee, and then coming back again with those updates. So I would say let's take it one step at a time, and that's the next step from my perspective.
Got it. And I think we could raise that partners engaged number. I know with that during that youth summit, we engaged with our education partners as well, like OSSI and DCPS and others. So I think that might count towards it. And I think you're going to raise this. I'm taking notes, Jen, so I'll share those with you. And I think you'll raise this too if there's like a deadline for members to provide further feedback.
If members think of any additional feedback, we're happy to hear it over the next several weeks. But yeah, this is what we're doing for now at each committee meeting, and I don't want to take up much more of your agenda, so I'm going to end it here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you all.
much for joining. Thank you so much for your guidance and helping us to understand and what the big picture is and what the goal is. And if we do have additional feedback, we will definitely send that over to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Right. All right, we are moving. So with that said, it's a great transition into what we need to spend the rest of our time on, which is discussing the priorities, I believe. So we already know Dr. Fleischer just clarified the three that we have right now on that database is what we're aiming to complete by this year, 2026. And then we also need to set ourselves up for success when we hit January and what we're going to do thereafter. I've already said, if you guys don't mind me restating, it is very difficult not to chime into all of this discussion about teen takeovers and teen curfews, because I believe that the behavior that we see outside for some of our students, let me be very clear, because I think we have brilliant, amazing students in the city with lots of discipline. I'm going to make it quick and go on mute. But the behavior that we see outside, the behavior that we see on social media is indicative of what we're seeing inside the school. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And some of this behavior could have been curtailed, I believe, if we had a stronger policy from the city on how we respond to our students. We've said it numerous times that the policy that was passed in 2015, I believe, spoke to the abundance of suspension and the disparity. But we're dealing with a different group of students and a different time. So we have to look at this policy again. So when we come to bullying, which I believe that we should couple the two together because they work hand in hand. And I'm going to go on mute and let you all talk because there's noise in my background.
Thank you, Representative Colson. I just want to second everything you've said. I think we can go broader than just bullying on this. And I've always been an advocate as we're tackling student safety and supports. I know we wanted to have very measurable things that we put on that list, but I think what you're talking about is what's really essential. And I really appreciate you bringing that up because that like bullying fits right in with that. There's another issue that I wanted to work into this, which is something that you've been the leader on also, and that's the issue of substance abuse or substance use. That to me really fits in with this, and I think that's got to be part of this discussion is because it fits into both discipline, but then also supports for students that may be addicted to vaping or other illicit substances. So I think that's part of the discussion, and then one thing I would like to tie into this also is what we do with the school-based mental health program. There's been a lot of debate about that. That was talked about at the Youth Civic Leadership Summit, and then the SAC had it in its report too. So we have recommendations from two of our students. So as we elevate the student voice, as we elevate the recommendations, we can try to figure out how that's part of the solution because I think that's an essential part. And then lastly, on the issue of safety and supports, an issue that I'm prepared to talk about today, I think I've got us a good start on is the issue of just how SROs fit into this and trying to rethink that. I think that's an important part of this as well. And just making sure that we support this from every angle. I think maybe safe passage is also is something we need to look at. But I think you are absolutely right to focus in on the issue of safety and supports, uh, and really try to tackle that in this committee. While we have a lot of other things that we'd like to do too, I think that's the key. So thank you for supporting this and for your leadership on it.
Thank you so much. We have a DCPS student on the line, not for much longer, but I would love to hear your input, Representative Chamberlain, and then also Representative Best. You used to be in the vineyards with us on the school student facing role. So love to hear from both of you.
Can you repeat the full question?
Just asking for your perspective on what was said or what other priorities do you want us to set once we complete these three that we have to complete for 2026? We're looking ahead to January to define what we're going to work on. So is there something else that you would like to see us really be the champion of, or do you have comments about what we were talking about in terms of looking at the discipline policy, including vaping and marijuana use, social workers, SROs, safe passage, all of that?
Definitely the discipline policy. I think this is something that we've been talking about for a while. I know I've been talking about the discipline policy and the grading policy. So those are kind of like the biggest things for me that I would love for us to really go back and check in on because I think that we are setting our kids up for failure if we don't check it. So that's what I would love to work on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
I'll come to you next, Representative Chamberlain. Representative Best, I just want to say thank you also for raising the grading policy. I am with you on that. I believe that went to another committee, but I told them that I would take the lead on that. So I welcome your support on that. And if you get a chance to check it out, I sent the members an article about what South Carolina had just done in terms of grading policy, because they too were setting their students up for failure. So we definitely want to make sure that our students are covered in every area. So that's something that needs to be looked at as well. I agree. Representative Chamberlain.
Sorry, I could not find the hand raise emoji thing. I would like to say I would love to see Chapter 25 revisited, and I would love to see the grading policy reviewed. And I think grading policy would actually make for a great public meeting topic. And then I also would like to see the C committee, I'm not even sure how to phrase this, but translate, not even just uplift student voice, but actually make the commitment to translate at least one student-led suggestion into policy.
I want to push you a little further on that, farther. Is there one policy that or recommendation that you have in mind? Is there one that really resonates with you above the others?
Ooh, this is a good question. Darren and I were in a room in which I really liked the recommendation, but for some reason I can't remember exactly what it was. Darren, do you remember?
Okay. Well, no problem. I want you to think
Ah.
challenge to
Yeah.
you before you leave the
Yeah.
board. We want to really make sure that we have your input and we can carry that on after you move on to higher education. But that's the joy of being a student representative. So let us know which of those you think would be a priority, and will see what we can do to keep moving that forward. Okay. Um, with that said, so just giving back what I've heard. So we are in agreement that we're going to look at bullying, but in addition, we're going to look at the discipline policy and then also our response to vaping, marijuana, drugs, and all of those things that fall under that. And then, sorry, you all. And then, hold on one second. What was I saying? We're going to work with the other committees as they look at grading policy. Representative Chamberlain is going to give back to us on her recommendations. But after this, you all, we have January all the way through December of 2027. It's hard to believe that that's where we are. Are there other things that come to mind? And if not, I would say, I see you, Dr. Fleischer, I'll come to you. If not, I will say, I'm sure Dr. Fleischer has sent the email. We can bump it up in your inbox again of all of the things that we've talked about in our meetings or in our public hearings in terms of what we're going to look at and try to tackle. So we already have a running list if you can't remember what was said. Dr. Fleischer?
Yes, let me just go back a little bit on like revisiting chapter 25, discipline policies, vaping, even bullying. I sent out past memos on the vaping side of things. I started putting together resources on bullying, just like the history of the bullying task force, what happened from that. And I know one of our initiatives is to lift that back up. A lot of that is really in Dan Davis's wheelhouse. So like working with OSA, they have their own recommendations. And as you know, are coming out with their safety report in at the start of the 2026-2027 school year. Would it be helpful to continue putting together a memo just with like a policy brief of sorts of what's going on with the current uh policy around discipline, put together something for cyberbullying and reshare that with the committee? And then using that memo, you would think about next steps with it or action items. I know when it comes to the cyberbullying task or the bullying task force, that is something where we have actionable items around that. And so just making sure I'll if that's okay with you, prioritize that so that we meet our 2026 goal of lifting that up.
I have no objections to that. Does anyone else? It sounds like a good plan.
I'm supportive of that, Madam Chair. I also think we can get a lot done with what, you've proposed there. So I want to think big on this. I think you've got a good vision. I think you have exactly the right priorities there. And I think as part of that, we'll easily check off those last two that we have. Hopefully we'll get some great recommendations from Dan in his report and that we can include, that help us with what we do. But that's an easy one. Like all we really would have to do with that is have our communications team, promote that and tweet it out. I think there's more we could do with that. But then on the bullying, I think that's just a subset of the larger issue you've identified, which is discipline. And I think as part of what you proposed for the remainder of the year, we can take care of the bullying as part of that. So I think this is going to be, I don't want to say it's an easy lift to do the smaller things that we've committed to, but I'm excited to do what the larger vision that you've laid out. And I think that's where I'd love to see this go.
Awesome. Go ahead.
At the June working session, we also, I believe even Representative Goulet requested following up with the students, the SAC members who worked on their research projects, following up with them offline, even though the SAC has closed for the summer, just continuing those discussions. I spoke with a few of them, they're open to that. And the next SAC meeting will be in September. And so I can work with this committee to maybe set up a time for committee members to tap students about the work of the committee, of the Student Experience and Engagement Committee.
Sounds good to me. Sounds like we have our marching orders. With that said, I believe we checked all of our agenda items. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to raise or propose?
Yeah, Representative Coles, I think on the agenda we had for discussion the SRO issue on there as well. Was that on your
My
agenda?
apology, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Please take a look.
So what I would request in this is we had a resolution. We discussed this at the last working session. The issue came up that the board had passed, I would say, an inaccurate and inflammatory resolution on this back in 2020. And we looked through the process and how we correct this, because DC Council did something similar where they passed something repealing the SRO program entirely. And then after all the principals came out and expressed real concern for the safety of students, they went and had to repeal the repeal and actually try to restore what they could of the program. So what I've done is I've drafted, and apologies since we've only had a week to do it, I've just finished drafting a draft of a resolution which I've circulated. So the challenge I think that we face on this is we were looking to try to get action in August. The problem is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dr. Fleischer, but I don't think we have a meeting in July. Okay, and then the other one in August would be after the working session. So we basically would have two working sessions go by. So, I mean, I understand the desire of people to see things in advance. If it's okay with you, Madam Chair, could I just quickly go through the resolution that I've circulated to everyone and explain it? And then see where we go if people are comfortable. Because I tried to keep this non-controversial, because I didn't want to get into demagoguing like a prior board. And I also didn't want to speak with hyperbole on this. So the resolution that I circulated, can we put it in the chat, Dr. Fleischer, if you have it?
One moment.
And then I'm bringing it up on my computer. And I could also share my screen, but then I think we might lose certain people.
Give me just about a minute. I have to add it to the.
Okay. Well, I'll explain it while we're waiting, just so for the sake of time here. I know we're limited to an hour here. So on July 15th, 2020, the State Board of Ed recommended a resolution stating that we should completely remove all SROs or any armed security in total from DC public schools and that includes DCPS and charter schools. That was then followed in the next whereas clause by the council passing legislation to phase out our SROs over a 5-year period. So they reduced it. The first year it was the current year, was fully funded. Then they phased it out over then the next 4 years. So it was reduced then to 0 by reducing it by 25% each year. So that we had approximately 80 SROs in school year 21-22, and that allowed a lot of schools that had high needs to have one dedicated SRO or even 2 SROs if there had been a lot of issues with student safety getting to and from school. After the council passed the legislation that it did, the program actually started to fall apart due to attrition even faster than what the council had recommended. And that's understandable because any SRO that was working in DC realized their jobs were about to end. So they started getting jobs in other school districts, or in some cases just retired. And then no new recruits would join the SRO program because it was ending. So this created a crisis in just 2 years. So in 2023, we had the principals of a number of schools all unanimously testify before the council in support of restoring the SRO program. That was, we had Principal Saw Brown testify. We had Jasmine Brand from Tyler Elementary School testify. We had Letitia Coleman, who's a principal at Johnson Middle School, testify. And I believe there was another representative representing the charter schools who spoke, but they didn't have their testimony up, so I didn't want to put that in here just yet. Additionally, the city administrator testified about the security concerns that had arisen because of the reduction and then proposed elimination of the SRO program. So within 2 years after proposing to eliminate SROs, council reversed its position on the elimination of the program. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the damage had already been done at that point, and and we're down to a much lower number. So as of this school year, we started at 80 4 years ago. We're down to 35 SROs now. So SROs are now being deployed through a cluster model similar to what we're doing with our nurses. And that, you have some that are assigned to 4 or 5 different schools. When we had the Youth Civic Leadership Summit, what the students said was they wanted all DC police officers to be trained like their SROs were. I mean, which was I thought, a really compelling statement. And then the only complaint they had about SROs is they didn't really get an opportunity to know their SROs, which I think, again, was not only a compliment to the quality of the program, but also indicative of the fact that with the cluster model, it's the same issue you have with nurses, where you don't get to know your SRO. And that's really essential because the trust in the SROs are why students will go to them when there's an issue. What has inspired me to move quickly on this, or to try to move quickly, is the incident that occurred at Jackson Reed. We had a student who was killed at Jackson Reed at 4:30. And, we used to have multiple SROs at Jackson Reed that had authority inside and outside of the school. They then caught the people who've done it. And there's no way of telling whether or not, if you had the full complement of SROs, that student would have been saved or not. So I don't want to go to hyperbole on it. But this is really indicative of a problem that principals say over and over again, is the lack of staffing to SROs and the fact that the program has been reduced so substantially. So what this recommendation is to, rather than criticizing the SRO program, I try to keep our resolve clauses in this very non-controversial. So I'll read them out loud. That the district's SRO program is an essential part of the district's comprehensive strategy for safe public schools, along with teachers, principals, safe passage workers, counselors, school nurses, school-based mental health professionals, and public school staff. So I don't want to in any way suggest this is the only solution, or even necessarily the most important prong, but it is an essential component that principals have identified of the solution. And then lastly, we just call for a restoration of the SRO program to the 80 SROs that were there before the reductions. And that's so that, the schools that used to have a dedicated SRO could have one again, so that the students can have that relationship with the SRO that they used to have. So I've circulated a draft of this, which I think is actually in really good to go shape. I've covered everything on it. The only other action that we would have to take in August, which is why I'm going to try to see if we can get something approved today, at least to get to a working session, would be we also would have to rescind the old state board resolution on this, just like council repealed its law. Now, that's not done through committee. It's just done through a motion to rescind under Robert's rules. So it wouldn't come through committee. It would be something that would have to be agendized. But I think we would be well served to propose like a positive solution to it versus just rescinding like what we had said before. So my request, Madam Chair, if you're amenable to it, would be to approve this in committee, not necessarily agendize it for the next working session, but for the working session after that, to give people a full time to review it, to propose any changes that they would recommend. And I only ask for this because of the extraordinary situation where we don't have a meeting in July and we miss then the next two working sessions. So I've deliberately kept this, very, down the middle, no inflammatory language, sticking to the facts, and everybody has a copy of it. So, with your indulgence, I understand the late nature of it due to the time constraints and the schedule. I would either request that we advance it today, not to the next working session, but to the one after that, or that we schedule an additional meeting to take it up, because I would like to try to resolve this in August. I think it's good to go, and it's going to be essential because we are losing officers, who really don't see a future for the program still, and I think the state board support would be essential for that. So that's what I wanted to put out, and would just ask that we advance the resolution to not the first working session, but the second working session to give everybody just time to review it further since it has been circulated late.
Thank you, Representative Goulet. Before we take a vote on that, I just want to put it out to the other representatives, give them the opportunity to weigh in, share any thoughts or feedback, and then we can move to a vote. Are there any comments from Representative Best or Chamberlain?
I'm here.
If Representative Best is are you planning to speak? Or may I?
Please go. I think that was the extent of his comments. Yes. Your thoughts?
Okay. I'd just like to share that I think that one of the biggest things, and I talked a lot about this when I was interning at DCPS in the climate and culture team, is that building relationships with any security staff at your school is really what can help change your school's climate and help with behavioral issues. I have a security officer at my high school that has my middle school as well. And I think that the bond I've been able to have with her and then another security officer at my school has made me feel like I belong in school and that I'm welcome. And there's always someone there that I know I can talk to and that will greet me and that will ensure that I'm safe because they care for me and not just because it's their job. And I think that bond is really a big part of why some of the kids at my school come to school.
Thank you, Representative Chamberlain. I'm not going to repeat everything that you said, but I completely agree as a member of the Culture and Climate team. With that being said, let's move forward and take a vote on moving this forward. Representative Best,
Aye.
Representative Chamberlain,
Aye.
and Representative Goulet,
Aye.
and it's an aye for me. So we'll move this forward. Thank you so much for your work on this, Representative Goulet.
Thank you for your leadership and your indulgence on this. I definitely realize I submitted it very late, so I appreciate you working with me on this, Dr. Colson. Thank you.
All right, let me check in one more time to make sure I'm not missing anything. As always, I love these meetings. They're so productive and efficient. Dr. Fleischer, are we good? Have we hit everything that we needed to touch on? This meeting never ends, hypothetically, because we're always in emails and updating and communicating. But for right now, have we hit everything that we needed to?
I believe so. If no other members have new business, I do want to, I'll share something offline. Could I just quickly share my screen just to kind of walk members through what to expect in their email box? Give me a moment. Here. So I'm going to just share this out, and I've updated Representative Goulet's resolution in here, but I put together a tracker of all the projects in play, what we discussed earlier, and just finding creative ways to streamline some of this work so it could go into the major priorities that are due in 2026. And then after this meeting, I'll update our committee work plan. But I know we're at time, so just look out for an email from this, but I would love to get members' feedback on recommendations for streamlining some of this work. But we have right now about 20 projects at play. Well, maybe 20 minus 3 projects in play. But it's an impressive list, to say the least.
But Dr. Fleischer, I just want to, due to our chair's leadership on this, a lot of those things that are on your list are already advanced out of the committee and have been moved through to the board. So I think we're making good progress on your list, but I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you. And that is it on my end. Representative Colson.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Fleischer, for keeping us so organized. At this time, is there a motion to adjourn our meeting? Oh, yes, did I miss something else?
Just a quick reminder about the representatives in July.
So sorry. So again, a reminder that we do not have our meeting in July. We'll be working offline, but I will be so remiss. We will be so remiss if we did not thank Representative Chamberlain for her support this year. She has been a welcome addition. I love the SAC report out. We thank you so much. We know good things are coming. We appreciate you.
Had so much fun.
And I believe
I think it only be fitting that Representative Chamberlain be the one to do the motion to adjourn then. So.
Go for it, Representative Chamberlain. Representative, did you make the motion?
So my audio is not connect. I can't even hear you guys.
Just saying, because we're going to miss you so much, you should move it to
now I
adjournance.
can hear you.
Yes.
Can you repeat yourself?
We want you to final motion to adjourn this meeting.
Oh, may I?
Please.
Motion to adjourn. Oh, shit.
Is there a second?
I'll second it with regret, only knowing that we won't have another meeting with Representative Chamberlain.
Oh, you never know. I might be on the attendee side.
Oh, that's true. Exactly. Yes.
That would be amazing. Thank you all so much.
My nosy self in here.
Thank you all for your time. This meeting is adjourned at 6:36. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Madam
you
Chair.
all. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. See y'all.
Everyone.